All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Reflections on the 12 Steps. Just a friendly announcement. This is not an AA meeting, just one member's view of the exact nature of the wrong as described on page 64 of the big book and the solutions contained within. This is not an all share meetings, though shares there will be, but actually a question and answer with Paul. Paul, I have you had mentioned something the other day on Tuesday. You'd mentioned something about the word must in the big book and what that what that does to the mental state. Like the mind wants to like beat you up with that. And I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, there's another portion in the big book that does that for me. And
Yeah.
so on page 19, if we go to page 19 at the bottom, and then at the end of the reading, it's small, it's one paragraph, but at the end of the reading, I'll point out which part it is that really like wants to beat me up over this. And it's on page 19, and it's the last paragraph. Of necessity, there will have to be discussions of matters medical, psychiatric, social, and religious. We are aware these matters are, from their very nature, controversial. Nothing would please us so much as to write a book which contain no basis for contention or argument. We shall do our utmost to achieve that ideal. Most of us sense that real tolerance of other people's shortcomings and viewpoints and a respect for their opinions are attitudes which make us more useful to others. Our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend upon our constant thought of others and how we can help meet their needs. Now, Paul, when I read that, our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend on our constant thought of others and how we can help meet their needs. That plays havoc on my mind a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know if it's possible that I constantly think of others. I mean, what an order. I can't go through with it.
Well, the interesting thing is that which you take yourself to be is an other, really. And you're constantly thinking about that.
Well, not only that.
Everyone else in the world, you're an other, bro.
I didn't think of it like that, but I did think of it as like, well, I did constantly think of others on how they screwed me over and how they did me wrong.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's a constant thought of others. I would, yeah, progress, not perfection, so to speak. Yes. I much rather see that I much rather have a feeling about another than a thought about another. Yeah. And so when I'm sort of content and satisfied, and I think that's a result of the program, sooner or later, you get a more content and satisfied condition. Then you basically give, in that little realm of you, there's permission given to others to be okay. Yes. Yeah. So I would feel like there's a constant feeling of others, of wishing them well in a weird way. Yeah, without saying anything. So I just don't believe the thoughts are ours, actually. I don't. I don't think you or I have ever made a thought. Yeah. We notice it. We notice thoughts. Yeah, quite a lot. And a lot of thoughts that we really notice usually are preceded by the word my thought. And but this is what they were starting from scratch. Yeah. They were starting from scratch. And in any person who's sharing an idea, there's a little boot camp in them also. So there's always you always and you must. And it's, yeah, a lot of times the uniform has a tight fit and then maybe it gets looser as you go along, I feel. Yeah. So give it a shot if you can constantly think of others. You'd have to have a big Rolodeck, a lot of give me more others so I can think about. I'd rather just not really think about people at all and more have a generating of a feeling or a sense. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm not a fundamentalist. Yeah. You can see how much trouble people get and produce by the fundamentalism of a Bible or something. Yeah, it gets pretty insane. And in all these books, there's always a lot of contradiction of something else that was said in the book. Yeah, constantly. And in a way, the book here contradicts itself. It says self is what has defeated us, and then it says you are the problem. Yes, so it switches back and forth from two different views. One view is distinctly different than the other view, which is, you are the you are the manufacturer of your own misery. I don't believe that. Do you? Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe inherently in us we want to maybe we get so driven that we want to manufacture misery for others, but uh, but I don't believe that uh, we manufacture the misery. I believe we can manufacture a lot of stuff, but who's directing the factory is the most important thing. Yeah. Yes. Under the purview of self, I was manufacturing a lot of misery for myself and others. Yes. Yeah. Under the purview of the higher power, I've manufactured, acceptance and a willingness to be of help. Yeah. Now, is the is the factory and the machinery of the factory responsible for what's produced by the machinery, or is it the director of the factory? It would be the director of the factory, yes? Some machines can make incredible things, and then they can also make bombs, yes? So really, uh, the condition of view uh, is going to decide what products are going to be manufactured in your life, yeah? And we've had enough experience with what the self-directing produces, yeah? So we should recognize that, and that's the old employer, and hopefully the factory is slowly or quickly being turned over to the new employer, and you're going to manufacture different stuff, like peace of mind and understand the word serenity and know peace and all this, yeah? So I could see that, like when people would just tell you, well, why don't you just stop? Yes. Yeah. Because obviously, for a long period of time, alcoholism was uh, demonstrated a weak will. Yeah. So people believed that it was because you didn't have the will, you kept drinking. Yes. I mean, it was a huge misunderstanding. Yet that's how it went, and therefore we find we in the basic communities we started, there was a need for another community of people recovering from alcoholism, which is what AA has provided, right? I mean, what an incredible thing. You can go all around the world and find an AA meeting. Yeah. When I first started going to Thailand, I went to meetings and I learned so much stuff because of all these expats. Yeah. I knew where to go. They told me where to go, suggested all these things, not just about sobriety, but about Thailand. Yeah. So uh, I think there's a lot of needs that have been uh, organically answered by recovery. Look at how many meetings there are. Yes. A church may have like one meeting a week. We have like 500 meetings because we know the situation. The situation is of the mind. Yeah. It's different than a lot of diseases, which are of the body. Yeah. And in this disease, the disease talks to you, which is trippy. Yeah. Cancer doesn't talk to you, I don't think. I don't know. I've never had cancer. I don't think it talks to you. I don't think the flu doesn't talk to me, and I've had the flu a few times, but something's talking to me that's not me. What's having a conversation with you? It looks like, does the head sounds like it's talking to someone in there. Yeah. And it's not trying to convince itself. It's trying to convince something else. Yeah. If it was the head, it wouldn't have to try to convince you to get loaded. You'd just be getting loaded. Yeah. But it's quite working very hard. It's playing to an audience that we're not seemingly aware of. I think we're part of the audience, not the thing that's playing to it. Yeah. So, yeah. So let me read this thing if you don't mind. So, of necessity, there will have to be discussions of matters medical, psychiatric, social, and religious. Because this is such a societal disease, also, yes? It affects who you work for, it affects the family, it affects the community, it affects the church, it affects tons of stuff. Of necessity, we are aware that these matters are, from their very nature, controversial. Nothing would please us so much as to write a book which would contain no basis for contention or argument. Well, you could lose the message if you went for that too much, yes? Don't you think if you bend over backwards to fit around the problem, that's part of a problem, I think, yes? Yeah, I had a weird set of events, but somehow I was put into contact with these people that were starting a very high-end retreat in rehab in Thailand, yeah? And they wanted to consult with me. First, they wanted me to be the program director, but I said, no, I'm not gonna, I don't want to direct anything. And then, so I would talk to them and I'd say I would emphasize service, yeah, as the key. And because of the money dynamic, they immediately said, well, should we tailor make the service for the individual? Yes. So take the individual as the individual and then fit the service around the individual. I said, no freaking way. Put the individual into service. Yes. Yeah. So in a sense, nothing would please us so much as to write a book which would contain no basis for contention or argument. But that leads to stunted growth, I feel. Stunted growth, yes? Look at what's happened here in our society. Now it's almost given up and it's just do less harm. Yeah. That's not a solution to me. Yeah. That's a reaction to a problem. A solution is different. Yeah. Yeah. So, but getting what you were saying, yes, bro. The head can read everything as an order that it can't do. Yeah. And then use that as a stick it beats you with. Yeah. But remember, it's not you. That's the good news. You have to have a sense. This is what happens when you lose interest in the voice you're listening to, you'll find your own voice. Yes. When you lose interest in the voice that you're listening to, you're going to find your own voice. Yeah. And it's not going to be the one that you've been listening to all these years. It isn't. Yeah. It's going to have different ideas and different motives. And it's going to bypass a lot of the exits you'd always turn off into. Yeah. Listening to the old GPS. Yeah. So that hit me with the thing that you will cease fighting in everything and everyone. It sounded like an order to me. I go, what the fuck? How am I going to do that? Yeah. But see, the beautiful news with us is you don't do that and you can't do that. And yet it's done through you. Yeah. Isn't that the beauty of surrender? You realize these things are unachievable goals and yet you find yourself in them. Yeah. Yeah. The admittance of powerlessness is really one of our main sources of power. Yeah. And I do not believe there's a point in time where AA becomes a self-help program or a self-reliance program. Yeah. I think it's this principle's established and it goes all the way through. Yeah. And then you actually, one of your main basis after time is something is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Yeah. And you get super comfortable in that. Yeah. And it brings about an assurance you didn't have in the old employer. Yeah. And you truly believe that statement, having a new employer being all powerful. Yeah. It's going to take care of us. And then they have two requirements to stay close to it. And you can't get away from everywhere, Spirit isn't in Iowa, as a like a 1,200 square foot office. It's not a thing. It permeates everywhere. And performance works well. Well, if you don't know what works, that may be, take the works of our community. Yeah. Well as you can do at the time. Yeah. That's the contract. Yeah. Stay close and performance works well, you're going to be taken care of. Now, many of us, we've been reacting to wants as needs. Yeah. So the head comes up with stuff, but has the sense of this is depending on my own survival when it isn't. Yeah. So it expands on wants and makes them, it feels like it's a need. I have to have this. I have to do this. No, you don't. That's actually killing you. It's not going to kill you. That's killing you. Yeah. Is living as if your wants are needs. And I think AA puts you in a position of proportionality. Like it makes that joke. You're going to lose interest in yourself and your little plans and designs. How many times did you think your plans were little and your designs little? You always thought they were big. So this has a lot to do with proportionality. You don't shrink, but something shrunk. Yes? Yes, yes. Yeah. So I hope that helped, Michael, a little bit. Yeah. And remember, maybe just ask the question, who is it that's browbeating you over all this shit? It may be masquerading as you. I don't think it's you. Yeah. Because I think you're what's being talked at. I do not believe you're the one that's talking up there. I believe you're the one that's talked at. I believe that the parasite knows you more as a host than you do. Seriously. I believe the parasite is very clear it's not you, and it's constantly talking to you as you, and we're not clear about that. Yeah. We don't know. What else are we going to rely on but the thoughts in our own head? But they're not reliable. Yeah. The infection, that's like the first nest of the infection of alcoholism. The problem resides in the mind. It's your thoughts and your perception gets warped and stuff. Yeah. But it sure sounds when you're sitting there, it sounds like you're the silent partner in the conversation. Something's yapping at you. Don't you get that feeling? And wouldn't it be insane that you are talking to you? Don't you call people that are walking down the street talking to themselves crazy? Well, you're fucking crazy. The same thing's happening. At least it's out in the open with them. It's insane. But you're sitting there. I'm taking a moment of silence. No, you're having a talking to. Something's talking to you when you're sitting and trying to meditate. It's talking to you. It never shuts up. Yeah. What's there to do if it's never going to shut up? Lose interest in it. How are you going to lose interest in it if you keep hearing it as you? You're not. There's a built-in interest in you. That's how we survive. in this event of singularity. Yes, there's a built-in interest. The head is using that for its own ends. I saw it as foreign to me. That opened up the possibility of being free from it. It's that freaking simple. The possibility of free from it did not come from any other place but that moment, seeing that self was foreign to me. That's exactly why we're here. Yeah. When I saw self as foreign to me, the possibility of being free from it became available. And then it gave me a short view of years of living and pointed out to the fact that I was trying to be free as self. Yeah. So all my failures and all my blaming others and all this and all that were a mistaken misunderstanding. Yeah. That which I'm not cannot get out of itself. Yeah. I'm the theater where its play is playing. Yeah. And it's fine, but not every year, every week. Yes. Let's give it a little part of the theater and let have the Cecil B. DeMille, put take on life. Yeah. Let's have a fucking epic going on. Yeah. Instead of this narcissistic, insane fucking thing. I'm not much, but I'm all that I think about. Isn't that insane? I'm not much for sure, but that's all I'm thinking about. That's insane. Yeah. You tell me, does it sound like you're talking or something's talking to you? It sounds like something's talking to you. Find out who that you is. Yeah, yeah. You'll find that out when you stop listening to the head. You will. You have your own voice. Yeah. Your your greatest proclamations may come about through silence. Yeah. You're always available at all times, what you're looking for. The presence isn't something that comes and goes. Yeah. It's present. Are you? Yeah. Mm. Yes. Do you think so? No. Is there faith in those thoughts? Yes. Then you act out that you're disconnected. And then you look for things to verify that. Yeah. And then you share it with others, and the contagion just increases. Yeah. We're all separate islands that if you visit any of them, they look very similar. Especially the alcoholic, what's it, archipelago, the alcoholic islands. If you met one, you've met them all. They all have their unique my problem, but no, it's a shared problem. We've been taken over by something. Yeah, it's foreign to us. We've been taken over by something and it's foreign to us. That's an incredible possibility. If that which has taken me over is foreign to us, I could actually opt out and get taken over by something else. Let's say called the higher power. Yee! Yeah. Maybe I'll start making some nice products I like. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so yes. You know what I wanted to talk about today, if you don't mind? Everyone's sober, right? No one's struggling right this second. No one has a bottle of vodka next to the Zoom thing. No? Okay. So just put up with me for a little bit. In one of the prologues or forwards, remember it talks about we are 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Now, they could have just said a hopeless state of mind and body, yeah? But they put a lot of thought and effort into this, and they put that word in there, seemingly, yeah? Now, it has a lot of definitions, but the one that stuck with me when I read it a long, long time ago because that sort of caught my attention. What the hell is seemingly? Well, seemingly is that something appears to be true or false to you. Well, so this is a this is a subjective experience, and this is one of the main uh, uh, qualities of a subjective experience. The subjective experience is determined based on you. Yeah. So you can see something as the worst thing that ever happened, and then if you change, you may see the same thing as the best thing that ever happened. Yeah, it can go that extreme. So you and I, as if you've never heard of the Course in Miracles, don't worry about it. But in this book, a lot of people are familiar with. The second lesson of the Course in Miracles is you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Yeah. So basically, really, it's here we are in a space, and the meaning into that space can be given that it's hell, or the meaning could be given that it's heaven. Yes? The space is just there, but we give it the meaning. Yeah. Now, we've been looking through an alcoholic lens for quite a while, and before that, a self-centered lens. Yeah, which is really the root of the dilemma. And then the alcoholic lens has a certain quirk where there's more yellow than every other self-centered lenses, let's say. Yeah. So it projects yellow on everything. So when you're living life under the influence of this idea of self, you're seeing the colors it has you see. Yes? You look at a situation and the head grows a resentment out of it. And then that resentment is owned. Yeah. And you become the garden for that manifestation of self to grow in. And now it becomes my resentment. And suddenly, a resentment that usually comes and goes quickly, it can last for 60 years. Yeah. By your cultivation. And this is funny how it talks about resentment, and they use the word permit. You're permitting or you're harboring this stuff. Yes. So you're complicit in a way. You may not be doing it, but there's a certain wink, and yeah. This is what we need to address, hopefully with an understanding in recovery. Yeah. So now we look at stuff and we start seeing our role in things by doing the inventory. And I hope by doing the inventory and sharing it with another person, you start seeing that your role in things was just exactly alike of other alcoholics' roles in their things. Yeah. And then you see that we have been carriers of this one parasite, alcoholism. And it's actually self is what has truly defeated us. And decisions were based on self, and they were mostly all the decisions. Yeah. And therefore, we were living from a false narrative. And the dilemma is we're still paying the rent for it by guilt and shame. Yeah. We're still paying rent. We're still paying for those storage units of past and future that we don't want to go to or we don't want to avoid. It's that space could be better used. Yeah. And then we have this really weird phenomena of people that come in AA and they become very grateful and they truly have an intimate sense that something greater than self has done for them what they could not do for themselves and is still doing that. And then they're grateful and they're traveling lighter because they're not owning shit and everything. Yes. So they're not owning to be the doer of the goods, and so more goods keep happening. Yeah. Yet none of that's applied to the old employer. None. Yes. No one's sitting down and saying everyone's walking around as if they did all that shit. That is bondage. That's being a living jail. And what you're not played the judge, the jury, the probation officer, your jailmate, everything. Yes. Yet we're so apt to give great glory to the higher power. How about accountability to the lower power? No, it's like the third rail. We're so afraid of not being responsible, we've overreacted. Where we're now taking to be the one who did all that shit that we were driven to do. When's that gonna fucking break? I've been in this program 37 years. I just went to a live meeting yesterday. Same. Yes. The past is like a giant umbilical cord, still fucking sucking life out of us. Yeah. How are you going to look at the past with no regret when you believe you were the doer of terrible fucking things? There's no way. You are not, uh, you don't have the ability to see that. You're not going to get out of that. Yes. How can you do a fearless, thorough inventory if it's on you? You won't, but it's not on you. You're doing an inventory on how self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. That to me is the direct instruction of the fourth step to me. Yeah. I don't even know how it got the other way because it bounces back. They go back there, your defects and shit like that. They're not your defects. Yes? Yeah. They're a part of something that took over. Yes? When self reigns supreme, it's got a bad package. It's got a lot of accessories that aren't helpful. Yeah. So this is just my humble see. I'm always amazed how we can live today with so much fucking weight from the past. Yeah. And then blame it on the day. It just blows my mind. Yeah. Everyone's disappointing me. You may have a lot of big packages delivered. Your mail slot is so small, nothing can get in. Yeah. So either you believe they're manifestations of self or you believe they're yours. Yeah. If they're yours, then mea culpa. So maybe it's going to take 45 years of mea culpa to feel like, or being good every day and virtuous and then blowing up in some perverted way. Yes? Or you see that there were not your manifestations that has defeated you. It's one way or the other. You can't have a little mix when you like it. Yeah? Mm. It doesn't matter. You're not convincing the head of it. You're bypassing the head. The head's infected with alcoholism. Yeah? It's already occupied. You want to go around it and live from the unsuspected resource, the inner resource that from the head's view is completely unsuspected, but you will know it's home when you touch it and start looking from there. Yes? And do an inventory, not about all the shit you did, but about what drove you to do it. Yeah? Because that thing is still driving, probably. Mm. You know, you're bad and then you're really good. There's a dilemma there. Yes? It's called duality. This is another topic of non duality. The antidote to being bad is not being really good. It's not like they negate each other. You see something. What drove you then and what's driving you now, and give accountability to one and praise to the other. Where's the accountability to the one? Where? Yeah. It's so incredible. You can say it clearly, and people do not understand it. They do not, and honestly and earnestly, they don't understand it. We're so locked into the idea of being the doer. There's no way in hell. Yeah. But I got suspicious of that head, and that it's the head that doesn't want to see this. And I've lost enough interest in the head that don't give a shit about it. I don't. I'm not. I lived a life trying to save my face as if it was my ass. I know it's not my ass now. Yeah, it's a face. It's a face. Yes. You're thinking about it at an extraordinary amount of time and effort. No one is. No one's thinking about you the same way. Not even close. Yeah. You go on any YouTube thing, you're the number one. Paul. Paul. It's like an avalanche over and over again. You're living under 30 feet of mental snow. Jesus Christ. Thoughts aren't yours. You're not going to direct them. You're going to lose interest in them. Yeah. And then thoughts that seem to be so dramatic may seem to be comedic after a while because you are giving meaning to the thoughts. Stop letting them give you meaning. Why would you want a fucking failed system of thinking to give you the meaning when you are actually the one giving it the meaning? Yes, you're not that which is thought about. And you're not the thought's description of that. You're not. It's like you ever see it when you go back to your family? The family has an invested view of keeping you as they once knew you, as they knew you when you were bad. The last people that are ever going to be convinced that you changed is your family, probably, because their identity is completely dependent on your identity. They have to have you as the fucker. Yeah. It's like we get together and hold each other down. It's amazing. We get together where we could lift each other up, but we hold each other down. It's insane, you know? And you see it at meetings. Someone shares a beautiful, but I'm still crazy. You got to fucking pledge allegiance. I'm still fucked up. Yeah. It's like the bird getting its first free flight. Oh, don't worry. I'm back in the cage. What the fuck? Yeah. So, yes, you can live with the head, but not in the head. You can. You can live with a head. You can. It doesn't have to be destroyed or fucking killed or anything. That just feeds it. Yeah. You can live with it, but not live in it. It won't ruin your day. Yeah. And that you can look, and actually it brings a lot of comic relief because you can truly rely on its myopicness. You can. It's always going to see things the same fucking way. Ah, well, but when it's your way, it can be really fucking terrible and painful. Yeah, it's going to be a way, but thank God it doesn't need to be your way. Yeah, and we have a design for living to sign up for another way of life. Yeah, and some of us have been living out that design and that good orderly direction. And hey, I'm a happy camper. Yeah, I mean the AA has delivered the goods beyond. It's I think in my life it's been the most powerful movement. And I've seen so many people's lives start right from AA. Everything in their life has the touch of AA in it. Everything, job, everything. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, it's just amazing. It really is. It's just it not only moves the seed, but it just keeps enriching the soil. And then people can just have a life that they never. There's a kid, a guy that I know. Let's open it. I'll talk. Getting into personal. Go ahead.
All right. If anybody has any questions or would like to come in and share, please use the raise hand feature. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate that. Pretty quiet crowd today. Here we go. Hey, good old Mike. Mike's here. Hey, Mike, come on in.
Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Mike from
Well,
LA.
what's up, buddy? I remember that backyard. Looks nice up there.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you or the power that seems to flow through you with grace and ease and dignity. Because for quite a few years, I listened to you and I really tried to implement your ideas and make them my ideas. And I think that kind of forcing a solution like that brought me more pain and misery. It's like the same thing like when I tried to be spiritual in AA, and thank God I finally drank vodka. Because I can't pull that stuff off, But what I can do, what has happened as a result of this is there really has been a loss of interest in this problematic, K-fuck radio, as the old timers call it. And that has happened not really of my doing. I don't think it's really been. I think there's some practices, like you said, we do what we can with what we are given in this program. So with no program or somebody who's new, like, hey, show up and make coffee or be a greeter. Like I'm starting to see that, like, doing this work wholeheartedly and really enjoying doing it is what's brought about the loss of interest in that voice. There's still mistakes made. There's still things that are happened that I got to clean up, that I usually see emanate from financial insecurity, self-pity, whatever, self-reliance, self-seeking. There's a whole bunch of different manifestations of that. But I don't feel like the doer like I used to. Like I used to really beat myself up over making mistakes in sobriety, and I'm a guy who walked around MacArthur Park barefoot, smoking crack for days on end. But that's wasn't the problem. What I'm doing now is really a problem in sobriety. You know what I mean? Like for some reason, that same self-flagellating device moves into this whole other location and it could hijack me in a sober state with many years separated from alcohol and drugs. So being able to see the truth about that has been so freeing, and it just comes. It really does just come without any thought or effort on my part. This place of being moved and not being totally dominated by or being part of that main step AA idea of, well, yeah, this happened. I made these great amends. I went home. I went here, and then finish off with I'm still sick. Like I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe I'm still sick. I like the idea of not just claiming spiritual progress, but other people being able to see that. So I have a different outlook from family members. I go back to Long Island, and it used to be, oh, here comes that crackhead LA fucking alcoholic Mr. Ego. And now I go back and I have a relationship with these people. They don't talk to me that way. But you're right. It fucks up everybody else's role when we start to have an experience with this thing. They see something different, and then they start to be interested possibly in what it is that was done in order to achieve that sobriety or get to this new state of mind that seems to emanate more positivity and love and care and patience and tolerance, without having to force any of those things. And that's the beauty of this, Paul. You super eloquent, or I was just really hearing you this morning, because I do like the idea of a Cecil B. DeMille or a James Cameron, depending on where you want to land, see, whatever, to have a really great experience with this and the people in your lives, and and not have to play roles and force others into roles. So much freedom around this, man. I really appreciate you. This little check-in a couple of times a week is better than any therapy I've ever had to pay for or was forced to do. So I appreciate it, man.
Well, thanks, Mike. And also, obviously, they're not your or my ideas. Yeah. Change occurs, and then you come up with ideas around it. Yeah. Yeah. So this has just been observing. It was easy in a way with this life because it was an extreme life. It went one or the other way. So you could see the similarity between both ways. There was an underlying similarity where that self abides. Yeah. And yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right. Thank you. Everyone else? Anyone else?
Yeah,
My-
yes, Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hi,
Sorry.
guys.
All right.
Heather.
Ah, wow.
Thank you.
Heather, you muted yourself. Sorry.
Oh, I thought that was it.
I made him my son. No,
I thought, wow, it ended at wow.
that's
That
it.
was-
That's pretty much how it ends. But I just wanted to say how I'm kind of revved up how important I want to declare this work is to the evolution of the program, because it feels like an evolutionary step, because I was at the hands as amazing as this program is, there was damaging elements around the punitive nature of it. When people would say, we have, I personally don't like the word defects. I use the word liabilities, assets, liabilities. And there was this punitive nature of like, you're bad, I'm bad. And it just felt, it kind of chased me away. And I was in one of the more intense food programs for 14 months. And I got a very abusive sponsor who, said, you're nothing, you say you're nice and good, but you're nothing but a dirty food addict. And her sponsor got weird with her. And it was so damaging. So I worked with a coach to leave. I waited 5 weeks to leave. I really worked on it. And I've been weighing and measuring myself for 20 years. And now I'm actually kind of looking back, because I finally my program but it was like, what if people understood that it wasn't them, and that they weren't so kind of mean to themselves, to me. And so I just wanted to say that this program is what you're what you're showing up, regularly to say, is, I feel, the evolutionary necessary next step, because it's time to be nice to ourselves and to each other. By understanding who we really are, we can do that.
Great, Heather. Yeah. We just hope doing it without, I love the statement in AA, we're not in the outcome business. Yeah. Yeah. So the bird has to sing. I don't know. You may take it as a direction or not, but the bird has to sing. So there you go. Oh, I would be probably put away somewhere, literally. So. Uh, yeah. Yes. Well. All right. Well, anyone else?
Yeah, hang on, Paul. Thank you, Heather. Maggie has their hand up.
Hey,
Hello.
Maggie, alcoholic. I was in Coachella at our desert cabin last time I talked to you. I am a renter up in Solvang, Horse Country, San Ynez Valley, California. That's where I am right now. I'm in a really cool old ranch with a funky old trailer. It's all wood. I see deer and owls. I'm a pantheist, right? So I'm in my sobriety and finding higher power. But there's another bedroom, and strange renters keep entering and leaving. I've been here a year and a half. So on the first came a gal with implants, breast and butt. And I had called her on the phone. I never got to meet her except for 5 minutes as she walked through and said, yes, I'll take it. She was desperate. And And I called her and said, "What? I need to talk to you about your relationship with alcohol. You say you're getting a job at a winery and you'd like to start a tour business, and I'm clean and sober for quite a while." And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, like, are you a daily drinker?" And she goes, "I'll just keep to myself." And I went, "Oh God." So, and it was kind of already a done deal with the old retired landlady and landlord, "Oh, we filled the space. Yay." So she drank her dinner the first night here, and I called my sponsor the second day. She was either angsting or really happy, and she's a happy drunk. But the rest of the time, it's like, and my sponsor reminded me what it was like. "Do you remember, Maggie, what it was like when you hadn't had a drink yet during the day?" And and I've tried to have a lot of compassion. We have one parking spot by the door to unload, so I parked on the dirt road the first days because you're moving. And day 4, it's raining. "I had to park under there because I have a cracked tail light." Well, the lies start happening. And day 6, I finally got to unload stuff from caregiving my brother, my cooler and the vacuum and all the stuff I take. So I tap on her door and she opens it and screams in my face, "Nothing about you is as important as what's going on with me. I lost my wallet in the park." And I go, "Okay, and I can wait to unload." So then she comes out and calls me an asshole, and I had to think I've been called some pretty rank things, and I have never been called that. So, I'm going into fear mode. And finally she's trying to take over. Now she's having an affair with the mechanic next door. Sorry. I shouldn't be laughing, but you've got me laughing now. And so night before last, I was sitting and I have a really small bedroom that I love because I'm outdoors all the time. And the horses, I'm a horsewoman. There's horses here. I feed and clean for rent. And I thought, well, nothing that a drink would fix. And then that pattern started for the first time in so many years of going, "Oh God, relief. How do I get relief?" And I usually would go have a hot bath, with lavender. So when you, in your talking today, said it's just a space, meaning the worldly space that you're sitting in right now, and you can make this of it or you can make that of it. And that's when I felt free. And I knew that at the time. And it was one of those things where you go, tomorrow, you finally just, "I'm not going to pick up a drink now. I'm not going to drink tonight." And it was a little late to call sponsor. And, this is your deal, Mag. And it's tomorrow is another day. Just read something spiritual and go to sleep and wake up. But thank you for that. I don't know if you could expound on that. It's just a space and you're making what of it?
Well, I would expound on would be doing a little inventory on your neighbor, about your neighbor. So the resentment of
I was thinking that. Get the pen out, get the paper out.
do that, and then the fear that's the underlying thing. Is she going to stay here for a while and ever? And then take it through the 4 columns, see your
Cool.
role and see self's role, and then there you go. It's going to
Thank
produce
you.
an answer, and one good quality about it, it won't be your answer if you do the inventory. You'll
Right,
get another answer that's probably better than your answer. So I would go there first.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. It's tough when you're in a situation where uh, you you don't seem to have control of an important aspect, which is your home or wherever you're living, and therefore, if something gets ruffled up, just do what we do in AA, do an inventory on it, yeah, and then call somebody and yeah, and ask for the fear to be removed. It's very beautiful, the instructions. You would like to have a clean house, but a lot of the instructions is your house is dirty. So that's what happens in life. So it tells us how to clean it up quickly. Yeah. But
Yeah.
with the hopes that you're not going to become a master of cleaning shit up. There's going to be a maintenance of it being clean. Yeah. So therefore, yes. But the way you
Right.
shared, I think you need to clean it up. So you do the inventory.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
still emotionally charged. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. See, there's different situations and different anecdotes in a way. Some people come here and they share, and then it's obvious you should, maybe service would be a good thing to do. So because they're up the ass of self, and just let's, service is one of the best public, divine proctologists. You don't have to pay money for it. You get pulled out of the ass of self. Other people, they're feeling pretty good, but they're coming against a deep mental groove that keeps reappearing. So that's another idea. You have to look at it that in a different way, where what is it when this happens, who is it happening to, let's say, yeah? Because a lot of things are happening to is being seen as it's happening to that which is talking to you. I do not believe that which is talking to you is you. Yeah. So it's describing how something is affecting it, and we're thinking it's describing how it's affecting us. Yeah, when it isn't. Yeah. So there can be some clarity can be shared there. So yeah, you just you sit basically in nothing, and then something comes out usually. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd be afraid of getting an idea that was mine. Yeah. So we're just sharing ideas that have been shared or downloaded, and then see what happens. If it allows you to travel lighter, far out, that's great. Yeah. 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 It says in our book, this power is going to constantly reveal to more to us. Yes. And yeah, well, here you go. Let's look at the weird phenomena of giving great gratitude to that which is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves, and not giving any accountability to that which did through us that shit that we would never have done by ourselves. I don't see, there's a weird fucking, it's got to be manufactured. It just doesn't seem like yes, yes. It's just the proportion is so extreme. It's got to be manufactured. And I believe it is, and sustained by the mental activity. Yeah. So you are cast as the doer about everything in the past, so to speak. And now in the present, you get a sense something is doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself. Why not apply that to the past? Something was doing through you what you would never have done by yourself. Why not? It's not hard. Just apply it evenly. Put it here and see what comes out. You know, when you see something built or it's a natural thing, and then you see something manufactured, and sometimes there's like a out of proportion. Yes, when I look at these reactions in our community, it seems like it's way out of proportion. Yeah. How do we see that something is doing for us now that what we couldn't do for ourselves, and not see that something was doing through us shit we would never have done by ourselves? I don't see the blindness. I humbly believe it has to be manufactured. Yeah. I don't believe it's a quote unquote natural blindness. I smell manufactured. Yeah. And if it's manufactured, you can see through it and unmanufacture it. Yeah. Yeah. Don't you see it? Isn't that one of the things that worked for you, where they described, oh, here we are, all these unique people, but we end up at the same 3 parking spaces. Hint, hint, we have the same driver. We're all the different drivens, but the same freaking driver. Yes, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I'm sitting with, I'm in an AA meeting is going to a car lot, actually. And the cars are complaining about what happened, and they've taken, and every dent was their fault. Every blown tire was their fault, and they're coming to realize it wasn't. Yes. Oh, and the elephant in the room is you start seeing, hey, Toyota, hey, Oldsmobile, it sounds like you had the same driver that I had. Maybe we all ended up where we thought we drove to by the driver driving us. Hallelujah. massive realization of something. Yes. So go to go to the car lot, go to a meeting and realize you're talking with other drivens. Yeah. If you want to use the exact analogy of a car, you're going to a meeting of cars that hopefully get to see the driver finally, instead of blaming the car over and over again. Bring that fucking driver in. He's the one. It's the one we need to look at. Yes, you're on to something. Finally, it's like the monkey leap with the monolith in 2001. Something has happened. A quantum leap has occurred. The driven realized it's not the driver. Woo! Yes. Oh, praise be. You're going to be driven. Yeah. Why did they say a new employer? It implied there was an old employer. You're employed. We are used. Yes. Like it or not, you're being used constantly. Yes. What's using you? Yeah. The tool is walking around with guilt and shame when the guilt and shame should be held by or pointed at the thing that used the tool. Yes. I can't handle tools dripping with guilt and shame anymore. Fuck. They can't even explain it, you know? I don't even know what made me do it. Exactly. You're a fucking tool. There's peace in that, actually. That's why you feel great when you're doing something that you're built to do, like your seed assignment. You're like a tool, like a saw is cutting wood. That's the ultimate sawness. Yes. The blender is making a drink. It's fulfilling its seed assignment. It's not sitting there drenched in guilt and shame about the lousy smoothie that was made a couple of days ago. Yes. It knows it's it's how smoothies are made. It's not the smoothie. Yes, whatever. Understanding for me works with imagery. And when I image something, there can be a leap. Yeah. I had it with Joe and Charlie in AA. I had a quantum leap going to the Joe and Charlie seminars about the big book. Quantum leaps. Yeah. Through understanding. That's all. They shared their understanding, and it compared to the understanding I seemed to be holding, and it was an incredible revamping of the understanding I had. Yeah. It pointed out, not purposely, all the misunderstanding that was crusted in the one that I was being lived by. Yeah. And there was a leap, and I have the hope of this happening here. Yes. A leap out of the bondage of being the doer of shit you didn't do. Yes. Did the saw cut down the tree? Only mechanically. The saw was just hanging out. Someone wanted to cut down that tree. Yeah. And then, do you want to let it stay anonymous, or let's just give it the name self? Yes. Take a look at it. All right, I got to get going. Sorry. We went. I indulged in this meeting. Yes. I'm going to go. They told me where I'm going, right? I have to pick up the kids and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. And yeah.
Rico had his hand up.
Rico, could you I have to go soon, so come on in. Come on in.
No, that's okay. Let's go. And I plan on seeing you again.
Oh, good. Well, if you have it,
Thank-
yeah, ask the next time. Yes,
Thank you, Rico.
Pick up the little ones. Michael, Stacy, thank you. Hey, everyone, thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah,
Thank
We-
you.
just staying sober is the key, but here we are riffing on trying to get to the exact nature of shit. So, Annette,
Hallelujah.
Artur's, yes. John, Florida, hallelujah. Rico, man of his word. Brian, Martin, Stephen Mack, Kathleen, as always. Thea, Melody in Phoenix, Joseph, France, Dennis, Will Harrison. Nice to see you, Will. Was I supposed to do something with you that I didn't do? No?
We talked about getting introduced to someone in San Fran, but we got to handle.
All right. Oh, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate you.
I just have to go over all the people I've disappointed with lately. It's a large amount of. I get these messages on Messenger that were 2 years ago because I don't go to Messenger. And then I say, I'm sorry, this is a tardy response. 2 years. But if you want to get in touch with me, do not go through Messenger. Yeah, I have my email is on the website. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just email me. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Will, Peter, Arizona. Ling's iPhone. Is this the Ling that I know? I guess so. He's busy doing something. Diane R., nice to see you. Eileen, as always. She says she's in Arizona, but she's of New York. Vokman, Darshan, yes. Stephanie, Saraswati. Again, I can't get to the other page. Hey, thank you so much. Have a great day. And we'll be here on Saturday, I think. Yeah, Saturday on the non-duality aspect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Paul.
Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Right,
Thanks,
for
Michael
understanding,
Stacy.
Mike. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Paul.